In the early hours of March the 17th of 2024, police in Duncan, Oklahoma, responded to a disturbance at the Creekside Apartments after neighbors reported loud shouting and something being slammed against the side of the building. Officers were directed to the residence from which the commotion was coming, and one of them noticed blood on the door in Causeway. No one answered the door. Law enforcement forced entry by breaking down the door with a sledgehammer, whereupon they found blood on the floor. As officers made their way into the bedroom, they came upon a male victim wrapped in a blanket. He was suffering from 2 stab wounds, one to the upper left arm and one under the left armpit. Investigators recovered a kitchen knife in the sink of the apartment and arrested the man's girlfriend, Natalia Chaires. At the scene, the 19-year-old allegedly admitted that she had been under the influence of alcohol and marijuana at the time and told police she went a little crazy after seeing her boyfriend texting with another woman. During the investigation, the boyfriend informed police that the text messages had been sent to his aunt, not to a romantic interest. Chaires asserted that she believed the texting indicated infidelity. The team was charged with assault and battery by means of force likely to produce death and attempt to destroy evidence, with the latter charge rooted in her trying to clean the knife after the stabbing. Her bond was set at $150,000. Number 11. Man versus Ferrari in Oxfordshire. In the fall of 2024, a furious van driver lashed out against a Ferrari 458 Italia at a roundabout in Kidlington, Oxfordshire, England. The incident was captured on cell phone footage and began with the unnamed driver, who was behind the wheel of a Nissan Cubistar, storming out of his vehicle with an expression of pure rage on his face. He went to the side of the supercar yelling at the other driver, "You dozy piece of..." He then said, "And you," while angrily pointing at a black Porsche that had pulled up behind. The van driver then threatened the man driving the Ferrari, "I'll bust your head in," before punching the vehicle's window and mirror. The Ferrari driver got out, seemingly prepared for a confrontation, but the other motorist returned to his Nissan and drove off. One witness reported that the van driver was frustrated by the noise that the supercars were making. Number 10. Sami Hamdach. Anger over a bootleg pair of fake AirPods sparked a fatal confrontation in the west of Sydney, Australia. On Valentine's Day 2020, Sami Hamdach, who was at the time in his late 20s, bought the headphones from Ross Hulis, aged 28, and the exchange was captured on CCTV. After determining that the product wasn't genuine, Hamdach was overcome with fury and sought retribution. He arranged to meet Hulis and purchase another pair through his partner. When Hulis showed up to the agreed-upon location, a shopping centre car park, he was set upon by Hamdach and his companion, Abdul Karali. He was beaten in the street by the duo, who told passing motorists concerned for Hulis' safety that he was intoxicated and they were helping him home. In a gratuitous, senseless, and cruel manner, Karali stomped on Hulis' head after he'd already been knocked down and concussed. After the brutal beatdown, Hulis was left for dead by the pair. The man succumbed to his injuries in a hospital. 3 days after the attack, all of those involved in the setup and murder were arrested. Hamdach's partner was given a 2-year intensive corrections order for being an accessory before the fact to assault occasioning actual bodily harm. Hamdach pleaded guilty to murder and was sentenced to a total of 16 years and 2 months with a non-parole period of 12 years. Karali, whom the court identified as the primary offender responsible for the death, was jailed for 28 years with a minimum custodial term of 21 years. Number 9. Guitar player beaten by wife. In 2016, a clip on LiveLeak showed a guitar player being relentlessly beaten by his wife. It remained unclear where the video was captured, but the quarreling couple spoke in Portuguese. The clip began with the man strumming his guitar while reminiscing about another woman. Unaware that his partner was behind him, in a split second the woman snapped and charged him. She slapped him, pulled his hair and punched him as he struggled and failed to get up from a plastic chair. "Respect me! Don't talk about other women while I'm here," the enraged woman commanded. She continued striking her partner, who eventually went down with the chair. She then removed his guitar as others at the scene tried to calm her down. Their efforts proved fruitless, and the clip posted by user Lost in La Mancha cut off with the woman pummeling her partner as he was cowering on the floor. Number 8. Marianne Gonzaga. Mexican influencer Marianne Gonzaga traveled to Mexico City on February the 5th of 2025 to visit her ex-boyfriend Jose Said Becerril, with whom she shared a young daughter. Upon reaching his apartment complex in Park Pedregal, Gonzaga, who was at the time in her late teens, found Becerril with his new partner, Valentina Gilabert. Gonzaga erupted in jealous rage and attacked the other girl with a knife. She stabbed Gilabert over a dozen times, inflicting severe injuries to her neck, torso, face and lungs. Gilabert was left fighting for her life, but eventually recovered after multiple surgeries. Even though she tried to kill Gilabert, Gonzaga only spent 5 months behind bars. She was released in July of 2025 following an unspecified settlement between families. Gilabert publicly stated that she forgave Gonzaga, saying, "She personally apologized to me. Everyone deserves a second chance." In mid-August of 2025, Gonzaga announced that she'd returned to social media, clarifying that the condition of her release didn't forbid her from doing so. The influencer wrote, "I choose to start over with humility, responsibility, and a heart full of lessons. I'm going to seek professional help, heal, grow, and never get lost again." Several of her followers, however, had changed their views on the influencer, and one of the top comments on her comeback post read, "There's no treatment for psychopathy." Another user wrote, "I don't know what's worse, that there was no justice or that there are people who support you and justify that you almost took a life." Upon her return, Gonzaga also dramatically increased her collaboration prices, charging nearly $7,000 for a premium package. Number 7. Chloe Hammond. On March the 19th of 2017, Chloe Hammond was driving her Audi TT along the embankment in the city of Westminster Borough of London. She stopped as a group was crossing the street and began honking at them. One woman from that group, 56-year-old Julie Holloway, tapped on Hammond's window to remonstrate with her for being on her cell phone while driving. Hammond, a glamour model, flew into a fit of rage. She got out of her car and pursued Holloway, shouting and swearing. Before engaging her physically, Hammond kicked Holloway in the stomach, causing her to bend over. Disturbing cell phone footage captured the moment that Hammond clamped her teeth down on the other woman's ear. She shook her head about like a dog with a chew toy, tore off a chunk of flesh and spat it on the ground. Hammond fled the scene but was later arrested. She claimed that she blacked out during the attack and hadn't meant to hurt Holloway. The model was ultimately convicted of causing grievous bodily harm with intent and jailed for 5 years. Number 6. Weichien Huang. Weichien Huang and her wife, 47-year-old Chen Fei, were arguing about their upcoming divorce at their home in San Dimas, California, on July the 28th of 2024. At some point during the row, Huang snapped and grabbed a katana that was kept in the home. She viciously lashed out at her wife, stabbing her over a dozen times and inflicting unsurvivable wounds. Fei's mother, Sei Wei, was at the address and heard her daughter screaming in agony. She went to her and saw her lying on the floor, drenched in blood. Huang then swung the sword at Sei multiple times. The older woman was able to disarm her by grabbing the katana by the blade. Sei then fled into the street. Video showed her walking with the sword in hand while bleeding from her open wounds. Sei was met by deputies and ordered to drop the weapon. She then led law enforcement back to the home and to her daughter's body. Huang was lying on a bed next to a bottle of medication at the time of the discovery. Prosecutors said that she sought to avoid taking responsibility for her actions, but the attempt failed. She was arrested and charged with murder and attempted murder. Sei later said of her daughter-in-law, "She was using the sword trying to suck as much blood from people like a vampire," adding, "She was enjoying the blood coming out. There was no regret at all, acting like a vampire." Huang claimed that she had no recollection of the double attack. She was convicted of her charges in late October of 2025, and on November the 3rd, she was sentenced to 37 years to life behind bars. Number 5. Julie Sweeney. On August the 14th of 2024, Englishwoman Julie Sweeney of Church Lawton, Cheshire, pleaded guilty at Chester Crown Court to sending a threat of death or serious harm. Her case was connected to a Facebook post. In a moment of intense anger, she'd written, "It's absolutely ridiculous. Don't protect the mosques. Blow the mosques up with the adults in it." The 53-year-old's post appeared in a 5,100-member local community group and followed widespread rioting in Southport connected to the fatal stabbing of 3 girls. General outrage followed initial false claims that the perpetrator was a Muslim asylum seeker. During sentencing, Judge Stephen Everett described Sweeney as a keyboard warrior and ordered her to spend 15 months in prison. The sentence cut through pleas for leniency from Sweeney's husband, who insisted that the comment was a one-off, adding that his wife lives a quiet, sheltered life and that she was kind and compassionate. The judge, nevertheless, was firm in holding Sweeney accountable for inciting hatred, telling her, "You had a big audience. You threatened a mosque. It truly was a terrible threat." Number 4. Enrique Rodriguez. On September the 11th of 2024, Florida couple Enrique Rodriguez and Amy Murphy were arguing at the home they shared in Cape Coral. They had been in an on-again, off-again relationship for 5 years, and their most recent row was rooted in a social media photo uploaded by Murphy, which Rodriguez interpreted as the woman acting like she was single. The argument turned physical, with Rodriguez slapping, choking, and slamming his girlfriend. The woman would later state that he went from 0 to 100, fearful of what would happen next. Murphy began recording him, and Rodriguez subsequently left the home. He then tried to get back inside through the front door, which had an electronic key code on it. However, because he was enraged, the man kept typing the wrong code. Rodriguez then darted towards Murphy, who was still inside the house, cursed at her, and delivered a powerful punch that shattered a window. In doing so, he suffered a massive cut to his arm. His rage instantly shifted to regret. As blood poured profusely from his arm, Rodriguez repeatedly begged Murphy to call 911. "Amy, please, call the cops, please," the man said while holding his sliced-up arm. "Bro, why are you doing this? Please, Amy, please," the man yelled while trying to get back in the house. Murphy, who shared a young daughter with Rodriguez, was directed by an operator to apply a tourniquet to his arm. He was hospitalized for 3 days and got a blood transfusion before he was arrested on 2 counts of battery for attacking Murphy. He eventually took a plea deal and was given 12 months probation, while also ordered to attend anger management classes. Rodriguez at some point complained on social media that Murphy, who'd ended their relationship, wasn't letting him see their daughter. Murphy consequently released the video, which went viral. Number 3. Studio City Rampage. At around 7 a.m. on November the 7th of 2025, an unnamed man went on a wild rampage in LA's Studio City into Hunger Avenue, a quiet residential stretch near the 101 freeway. As seen on home surveillance footage, the man was fully nude and appeared to be in a state of psychotic rage. He was shouting incoherently while banging on property and attempting to force open cars and homes. The unnamed suspect eventually broke into the home of a lone woman, and she began screaming for help. Her neighbor, 79-year-old Vietnam War veteran George Carcock, heard her and rushed to the scene. He engaged the suspect, threatening that he had a gun and would shoot. At that point, the naked intruder grabbed Carcock and body slammed him to the ground, breaking both of his legs. The hand with which the veteran was holding the gun was pinned behind him, but he was able to retrieve the weapon with his other hand. He then shot the suspect point blank multiple times, killing him at the scene. Carcock was rushed to the hospital and had emergency surgery. "I knew that if I didn't take care of him, I had no clue what he was going to do or was capable of doing," Carcock later told Fox 11 Los Angeles from his hospital bed. Reacting to the community hailing him as a hero, the veteran said, "I don't consider myself a hero. It's a situation where I was fortunate enough to do the right thing." He wasn't expected to face any charges. The identity of the man he'd killed and the factors behind his rampage remained unclear as of mid-November of 2025. Today's topic was requested by Ray Soto, PV4FQ. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, then subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Paige Poulton. Leading up to the summer of 2024, English teen Paige Poulton had been staying with her distant cousin, Shannon Byrne, who at the time was dating 25-year-old Jack Cadwallader. On July the 1st, Byrne and Cadwallader went out to the town centre of Maidstone, Kent. After arguing and bickering, Byrne eventually left him to join Poulton, her boyfriend, Clive Harris, and another young woman. At around 6 p.m, they caught a train and travelled to the latter's home in Southfields Way. Cadwallader went to the address with a companion at around 1:30 a.m. A confrontation ensued, during which 19-year-old Poulton punched Cadwallader in the mouth and berated him, saying she didn't like the way he treated Byrne. The man laughed off the strike, which further enraged Poulton. Cadwallader then challenged her boyfriend to a fight, and they went outside. Poulton exclaimed that she was going to go mad. As Cadwallader was leaving the home, she grabbed a kitchen knife and rushed outside before he and Harris could square off. When Cadwallader saw that Poulton was armed, he grabbed a metal chair and used the legs to try and keep her at a distance. Moments later, she plunged the blade deep into his chest. He collapsed, and all subsequent efforts to revive him failed. He was later pronounced dead in a local hospital. In the immediate aftermath, Poulton urged Byrne, "Don't tell the police," as the latter screamed, "What have you done?" About an hour after the stabbing, the police found Poulton and Harris hiding in nearby bushes. Investigators learned that in a message sent to her mother roughly 24 hours before the killing, Poulton wrote, "Jack keeps going on, I'ma end up stabbing the cunt." Updates from the spring of 2025 indicated that she was cleared of murder but faced a retrial for manslaughter. Number 1. Michael Hann. On the morning of April the 20th of 2025, local authorities in the riverside village of Playas del Cuyabeno in Ecuador's Sucumbíos province took into custody a suspect who was reported in multiple media outlets as a British national. The man was identified as 34-year-old Michael Hann, and he was arrested for the fatal shooting of local man Enrique Chaires. They had been partners in a travel company called Quichua Pathfinder Tours that organized trips into the Amazon for holidaymakers. As the business hit a rough patch, each man would accuse the other of pocketing profits. Chaires was the first to accuse Hann of taking payments from tourists and not paying back the community. In spite of their fraught relationship, they went out and partied together over the weekend. At around 5 a.m. on Sunday, April the 20th, as they were both intoxicated, the tension between them reached a boiling point. They argued and Hann executed Chaires in the middle of the street. Bystander video footage showed him bleeding to death on the pavement. Shortly thereafter, a vengeful group of locals pushed Hann to the ground and began repeatedly kicking him and stomping on his head. At around 6 a.m., local law enforcement arrived and took Hann into custody, both for his own protection and with the intention of determining the circumstances surrounding Chaires' killing. Hann was held at a local police station while awaiting transfer to the provincial capital of Lago Agrio. The station, located in a remote Amazon region village accessible only by river, had limited resources. That afternoon, at around 3 p.m., an angry mob of up to 100 locals descended upon the station and dragged Hann out. The enraged group then proceeded to dish out what was described as a brand of indigenous justice. The authorities later stated that they didn't intervene as the sheer size of the mob exceeded the capabilities of the handful of officers that were present at the scene. Hann was lynched and set on fire in broad daylight. As of the latest reports on the matter, the authorities in Ecuador were still trying to determine Hann's true identity, as he'd come to the community under mysterious circumstances. A local guide said he called himself George and refused to be photographed or filmed. He did not use social media accounts. Residents initially thought Hann had come from Colombia, and he claimed that he was born in South Africa but spoke in an obvious British accent. It remained unclear if any members of the lynch mob were arrested for his brutal murder. Thanks for watching. What is the worst thing you have ever done in a fit of rage? Let us know in the comments section below.